Hello and welcome. My name is Blanca Vergara from MentorWe. Today we are going to present to you a dear friend of ours, friend of our community, who is a very experienced and senior lady. Her name is Maarika Liivamagi. Who is she? She is a good friend of the University of RSM. She has been a member of the supervisory board of the Port of Tallinn since 2018, since April 2018. Her other main activities include acting as the CEO of the Estonian Hotel and Restaurant Association, as a management board member of the New 7, and as an active member of the Estonian Mentor Association. Mentor, did you hear that? In the last 5 years, she has also been engaged as the management board member of ERGO Insurance and a supervisory board member of ERGO Funds. She has a master's degree in business administration from the Tallinn Technical University. And what I love to quote is that when we asked her to be with us here, she said, "We have still a lot to do when it comes women on board and equal pay in Estonia. So I will be happy to share my experience so far." So Maarika, I'm absolutely delighted to have you here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
So Maarika, I read your introduction. All these introductions can be really dry and impersonal. So I would love that you flesh it up with more, something that we cannot read on that. Help me introduce what do you do and who you are.
Yeah, actually the list, what you already kind of stated out is I have to say that quite a long one. So yeah, business-wise, I actually started my career in 1992 as a secretary. So I absolutely encourage everybody to believe that you can start from anywhere. And at that point, I really did not know where I would end up or where I would go. But definitely I knew that I would need a good degree, university degree for that, and a little bit of courage. So when it comes to the main values in life, then I think that the two of the main values what I possess or what I try to follow are the courage and freedom. Freedom in that sense that actually you can choose whatever you want to do or not to do. I'm also a mother. I have an 18-year-old son. Actually, he's now going to the last year of the gymnasium. So it's a lot of choosing and a lot of decision making coming spring. So let's see what he will do. And yeah, I used to be married. It doesn't mean that career and marriage is not how to say compilable. That actually you can do both. So it's I'd like to say that that people can be equally successul in family lives and also in career. So it's not that either or. And yeah, I have, I would say that a very good package of good friends since age of 6. So my close friends are actually from my high school time. And I'm also a daughter. I'm actually a single child. So it has some pluses and minuses, but it's definitely a great journey. So seeing also my parents 48 years being together and enormously active in social life and family life. So yeah, that's it.
So you started with coaching some time ago. Can you tell us the story of how did you get started in coaching?
Yeah, actually, when it comes to coaching and mentoring, then I have to say that the Estonians or Estonian business community, they are rather pragmatic. So people are very much into end result or into very practical tips and very practical journeys whenever it comes to to implementing or actually to involving some consultancy. So that's why I would say that yes, there is also coaching and coaching in leadership in Estonia as in general. But very often it is used also, the words are used like mentors. And we have even an Estonian Mentoring Association who started its activities in 2013. I was one of the founding members. I was asked to come in with my experience from corporate world, as already by that time I've been working as a management board member in two big financial corporations and previously also in one hotel group. But we also agreed there that actually a coach can be anyone, the one who knows the method, knows the way how to ask the questions and actually follows the technique of coaching. But when it comes to mentors, then it's kind of a coaching +1. So that means that actually I have an opportunity to share my experience in a sense that I do not have to name the names or talk about the companies in particular, but I can always share that in this situation I solved the challenge like this. It doesn't mean that I give advice, absolutely not. And I'm not suggesting anyone to the coachees or mentees that this is your path or you should do something like that. But it's good to what I've heard from the mentees, that it's good for them to hear another example, and then they choose. Either they learn from it or not. Either they try something else, because people are different. I have one temperament, somebody else has another. I had one situation, you have totally different situation in that particular moment. So yeah, we have a definition that mentoring is coaching +1.
I love it. But we have a large group of women, RSM graduates and candidates, and they are mentoring each other. I love when you say that this coaching +1, and that they have received some webinars in which we talk about some of the key qualities or techniques that they need to use for coaching or for mentoring. What could you like to highlight as the techniques or qualities that they should have in this mentoring relationship?
Oh yeah, I would say that definitely there's a number of different tools, and what I find, of course, you can always talk about the GROW model, which is very often used, and you can always talk about different bits and pieces. But what I've realized, and actually also everyday basis when I talk to my mentees, or when I even talk to other leaders, then one of the key elements in nowadays leadership is getting and giving feedback. And I would say it's something that it is absolutely crucial in a sense that also leaders very carefully and also actually very consciously ask feedback to themselves. It's not an easy task, definitely not. And you can get information that it's too much that you can process, or sometimes there are a lot of traps that people tend to be too kind, or they tend to be like too maybe critical. So it's always the question that what will pick out from there. But giving and getting feedback is definitely one. And the other one is more of my personal lesson in life to learn, and that's listening. I can talk for hours, and I can talk in any room on any subject, on anything. So actually really to listen, and not to listen in a sense that I listen in order to reply, because very often what leaders do, they listen and then they think simultaneously that, okay, what should I say now to kind of get into the conversation? But I like to learn to listen and understand why people have such positions or such statements, because even if you have different views and you can agree to disagree, then there's always the question of why. That why are some people in your team, I don't know, not enough creative or not enough motivated, what is the why factor in that? Why do they think that they do not have enough information or enough capabilities to actually fulfill the task? So listening is not always just to shut up because it's easy. I have even used the candy and cookies to kind of pull in physically into my mouth to distract me from talking. But it's not that. It has to do also with understanding that why people say what they say, and then move on with your thoughts and speeches.
And on the subject of women, how would you say that this applied, specifically this listening, this active listening?
Well, usually it depends definitely on the business fields, but usually women, what I have experienced, and I cannot say that I'm always following that path, but usually women are a bit shy, maybe sometimes also a bit modest in that sense that even though they might have thoughts and might actually also contribute to the business or to the ideas or to the whole process, but somehow they do those obstacles, or they kind of put themselves in this hidden agendas by themselves. So they kind of not speaking up. Of course, maybe the environment or the surrounding is not also helping. I tend to be a bit of the vice versa person. I sometimes speak up too much, which is also not good, because every extreme has their, how to say, ups and downs. So if you talk too much, then you also create a different pattern or different embodiment or vision of a woman, that they just only talk and not much action or just a lot of emotions. But I would say that the role or the character of women within the discussions and also listening has a lot to do with active listening, because I would say that women sometimes they pick up some nuances and details what might be lost when big projects or big topics are discussed, huge budgets or kind of great visions. Then I would say that the value from the women thinking, if I may say so, or women listening, may come from understanding the details and the smaller pieces, and also the connections between the pieces, which is definitely a great value. I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
It's a good thing that we are recording. Oh, I wanted to add to that we listened to that nuance and we shoved it under the carpet because nobody else said anything. Then we reinforce it and we don't speak.
Yeah, actually, we kind of, it's like a permission leadership, that we kind of ask or we wait for some permission in some senses. But again, like I would say that if I look at the younger generation, which is like ladies in 20s and 30s and even in early 40s, I would say that they are much more smarter than that they kind of step out in a good way. Because I definitely would not like to put like in the shoes that they're, how to say, that there should be women because of the quota. Definitely, if there are people smart enough, they should be promoted and they should get the jobs and positions. And nevertheless, that what's the sex or what's the agenda behind. But I still, if I look at the younger generation, then there's a lot of hope. So in that sense, that actually there's a lot of smart and really nice people who step up in a good way. That if I have to contribute, then actually I do it without any hidden agendas. So and without any kind of barriers. If it's the case.
That is exciting to hear. That is exciting to hear. I wanted to ask you also on your experience with communication among women, because one of the things that we are seeing quite often as comments from our members is bullying.
Yeah, well, I think that actually the models from the childhood or from the school time, actually, they just are in a way copy-paste also in corporate world. So sometimes it's the same thing what happened at school actually is happening maybe somewhere in the organizations, that there are how to say, really leaders, like leaders in the sense that people would like to follow, and then there are maybe not natural leaders, but maybe people with a status and positions and let's say the titles, and I would say that when it comes to Estonian business community, we're a very small nation. We're 1.3 million people. 600,000 are actually working actively and contributing to the society. So in that sense, we do not have much time to waste on kind of a side activities. So we are really hands-on. And it comes also from the background, because we live in the climate where actually if you will not seed the potatoes and crops in May, you will die in winter. So it's not the matter that it will be a bad harvest or you will get less potatoes, you will literally die. And this is the thinking that where Estonians are very practical. So in my experience, definitely there have been different situations where people might be using their status or position or titles, but usually when it comes to really delivering the results, then very much is actually focused to get it done. So of course there are definitely, if you ask me that do we network or do we help each other to become better, or kind of a support women or support other colleagues to prosper and get new positions and to kind of learn through new possibilities, then definitely it can vary. It's very different and it depends on organizational culture, that are people really supported to grow, or are people just appointed? So that we will just give you the title, carry on, or we will see that you have a potential and then we will promote you. And yeah, I would agree that definitely there is some room for gossip in organizations, but it very much depends on the size of the organization. Because if people are actually busy doing what they are needed to be done, then there's not much room to bitch around. Sorry if I can say that, but yeah. So especially if I look at the really Estonian middle-sized and smaller companies, it has really quite efficient manpower. So you just deliver or die. So there is no other option in that sense, that you have much time on side activities. But it's happening. So I'm not saying that it's something that you will never see here. Definitely not. It's there, but maybe in some smaller proportions.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you. So then, taking it to another direction. I would love to that you shared one of your bouncing back stories. You said something went wrong and how you turned it around, something that our ladies can learn from.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually, if you look back, then actually there's a list of such stories. So it's sometimes it's a challenge to pick up the one to do things or to kind of to show or to explain. But yeah, there have been definitely several setbacks if I look during my career. So but actually I also think that some of those setbacks are lessons to learn, and as long as you do not learn the lesson, they are coming back, or actually it's kind of a repeating. I would say that also the careers and also things what you do, they are in a kind of a spiral way. So if you will not learn the lesson, it will somehow come back. But one of the major lessons has to do with building relations in the organization, not only downwards, like you build a relation with a team, being the head of department or division, but it's also building the relations up and aside. So one of the maybe kind of lessons to learn what I've had is that being or actually working with sales and marketing are always kind of a frontline people. They are very outgoing. Usually they have to do with advertising agencies, with branding, with creating the visions and images. And it's usually quite a lot of people who are like very much focused on the outer world, not maybe what's happening inside, but on the outer world. And one of the setbacks is definitely that that when I created a very strong sales and marketing organization, but simultaneously I was also giving the kind of a hidden signals that we are the better team than anybody else in the organization. So we are the ones who have a connection to the customer, and we know every feature of the product, and we know how to package it, and we know how to say nice slogans, and we know how to kind of propose it in a very great advertising campaign, and so on and so forth. But what I realized, though, the problem came in that the minute you cut off the rest of the organization, all the administrative people, all the supplying, all the other departments who actually have a very direct connection in delivering the product or delivering the service to the customers, then actually you create an island. You create an island, and you cannot be successful when you are either a separate department or a separate human being. You actually need others. So the lesson what I learned in that situation was that the minute you start to promote, and of course you build the motivation within the team, they feel very proud. But you shouldn't limit that with only your team. So being a leader, it means also inclusive leadership. That you have also others on board, and you kind of create value and role and a place for everybody, because you all deliver. That was one of my lessons when being in charge of sales and marketing. We were very much focusing just to the outer world and to the facade and delivering very nice things, forgetting that we are not alone. And after that, I'm always, when I'm mentoring the young leaders, especially the ones who've been recently promoted from a specialist to lead a team, I'm always telling them that your number one role is to also build relations up, down, to the sides. You're kind of like an organism, so you need everybody. I use sometimes the military connotations that if you're in a battlefield, then every man counts. So it doesn't mean that you are in the front line. Also the medics and also the people on the radio and whoever are within the whole. This actually everybody is important, and to create that feeling of being important. Whatever the position, you can be a bookkeeper or just an administrator, just a doorman. This is very important for leaders. And but it comes with a hard way, actually in my case. But it was a good lesson. Now I can share it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the story. That's you're a very successful woman who has so many experiences, and this is a hard question, but use your intuition to tell us what is the thing that has been your secret to be so successful.
Oh my God! Okay, that's always a good question. I don't know if there is like a specific thing, but I've thought about that, and there are maybe a couple of things. First of all, I have realized that I'm actually quite lucky when it comes to the amount of energy I have. So in a sense that actually I can hang on for some time. So I'm not a marathon runner in that sense that when it comes to the sport, but I can I can deliver for some time. So the amount of energy, which is whatever, is it maybe as a package what you get when you, I don't know, are born in this life, or something that you get to learn, that how to balance the energy what you give and the energy what you get. So this is one of the things. And maybe the other thing is that I'm quite brave in a sense when it comes to go to the new challenges or do something that I've never done before. And I think that it comes also from my childhood, because when I recall that my mother always told me that you can actually accomplish anything you want in life. It's only a matter of wanting it. Sometimes if I didn't get what I want, and it was not a materialistic thing, it was maybe some kind of an achievement, then she always told me, then you didn't want it enough. Because if you want it enough, you actually put everything and you'll get it. But if you don't, of course there are outside circumstances and there's a bit of a luck that you need to have. But in general, I think she was right. And when I was a, I don't know, 10-year-old girl, I absolutely loved to bake all kind of cakes. 80% of the cakes actually were not eatable at that time. But my mother never stopped me. I remember, even though if I used up the last egg in the refrigerator, she always told me that, okay, maybe this time it will happen. And I think that kind of created an willingness to try things that I haven't tried before. Because if I look also back and look at my career when I was proposed to take on some new positions, then I did a lot of things that I've never done before, and I kind of learned. And also I like to think that I'm a quick learner and I'm willing to learn. So it's a lot to learn, but this kind of have helped me maybe to do the steps and things. But yeah. But sometimes you win some and you lose some. So there have been also some stepping into the businesses or into the positions where I realized after 2 years that this is not for me, that I need to make some changes. But it's also a learning. So it's also kind of a letting go, that not kind of a very eagerly holding on to things that do not feel natural to you. Yeah. So,
well, I don't know. I will dare to say that the one thing that keeps repeating is daring.
Yeah, daring, definitely. So it's like that's and I usually, if I look back, then I was always the first. For example, if we go into the woods, then I was always the first to kind of lead, because yeah, I'm sometimes not doing crazy things. If you ask me to do the bench jumping, most probably I will refuse. But I kind of if it comes to learn some, I don't know, new things, then it's okay for me. Yeah.
This is so exciting. That's so inspiring. Well, you're inspiring lots of women out there, but I would like you to inspire us to get them to inspire others. So what would you advise to other women? How can they support other women?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I've also heard, and that's something that's been talked about, and I've read a couple of articles in Harvard Business Review where it said that actually women should promote women, or we should be kind of kind to each other. And I would actually like to maybe get to the thought that kindness is something that it kind of should be kind of a natural when it comes to women, that actually women are kind. I remember there was one quote somewhere where I wrote that, be nice to people because everybody has their own battles to fight. And that's a nice thing to sometimes to kind of to remind yourself also that even though if you have a right to, I don't know, to raise your voice or right to kind of make an argument or statement, then maybe sometimes it's wise to reconsider. It doesn't mean that you're weak or you're kind of shy and you're not stepping up, but sometimes to kind of think first and then maybe act later. But being able to support other women, it starts actually from the fact that you should support yourself. And I would say that we are not kind enough to ourselves. We're absolutely beating ourselves up when it comes to, we need to look like, I don't know, models, work like, I don't know, elephants or bulls, and then be amazing, I don't know, cooks and mothers and whatnot. So I would say that the bar, what we have set for ourselves, it's very high. And when you live with a very high bar to yourself, then most probably you also copy that when it comes to others. And then you kind of you maybe miss the kindness in a sense that it's okay to say something nice, or it's okay to sometimes say other name, that she's somebody that can, I don't know, have the job, take the project, or maybe try her out so that actually she may grow within that and give the possibility. So I would say that it has to do with the inner kindness. So if we're kind to ourselves, most probably we can be also kind to others. But at the moment, it's a bit of an imbalance in there, that we tend to beat ourselves up. but again, it's not absolute. I'm not saying that everybody's doing it. It's kind of a tendency that we're surrounded by that in some way.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes we do it, and sometimes we're kinder and to ourselves, and sometimes we don't.
Sometimes we don't. Yeah, it's like I think it's happening maybe more with the awareness, and it's kind of people are now getting a lot of knowledgeable, because I would say that the awareness of a lot of things. It doesn't mean that you have to try everything. I mean, that always everybody or somebody telling that, oh, there's kind of a yoga, and then there is neuroscience, and there's a lot of things. It doesn't mean that you have to apply everything. It's you have to pick your things, and your things can be, I don't know, totally different. But it's good to be aware that what's happening, in a sense that you kind of you can also jungle that. Okay, there are 77 options, but I pick only 2 because they are more natural to me, and it's okay. So it doesn't mean that it's a right or wrong answer. So I had once a boss who always told me that, Maarika, we can agree to disagree. And I would say that it's a very intelligent kind of attitude, that we can really agree to disagree. And it doesn't mean that my opinion is better than his, or vice versa. It's just that we have different opinions.
Oh my God, I'm so delighted with this conversation. I like to have this conversation short, so because the attention span of people just is getting shorter all the time. So I would like to close the conversation with with your intuition. With all that we have been discussing now, what would you guess that is the one thing that women listening to this still need to hear?
Oh boy, oh boy. No pressure, right? Yeah, I think that that the most important thing is also to tell once in a while that actually everything is okay. That it's okay to maybe not get promoted, and it's okay to, I don't know, burn the cake, and it's okay to be late to the meeting for 10 minutes. So at some point, I would say that when you get older, I'm always referring to the age, because if I look at Maarika 20 years ago, starting as a head of a team of 20 people, and if I look at Maarika, who had 1,500 salespeople to be managing, then it's two different persons, and there's a 20 years in between. But I would say that one thing to keep in mind, and maybe to leave with the fantastic ladies that are listening to this, is that it's okay to be okay, and to say that things are okay, and you don't have to kind of be perfect or do all the expectations. Not to think that it's okay to be late every day, but maybe there's a reason why you're 5 minutes late, and it's not the end of the world. So there are much worse things that are happening to us, and that really have a huger impact than some smaller things. So yeah, I would just say that it's good to be you, and it's good to be okay.
I love it. I love it. It's okay to be okay. Maarika, thank you so very much in my name and the name of everybody in Mentor. We are Sam, ERGO, and we send you a very big hug all the way to Estonia. And thank you, everybody, if you made it all the way to the video. And please do share it with all your friends, because as you see, it's a great content, and more women deserve to hear this wisdom.